All right, so we zoomed out. Now I want to zoom in.
Okay.
All right, so you got back from Costa Rica. Mm-hmm. You started another business from scratch?
We've had about 100 businesses in my lifetime. And you can tell a lot of them did not work. And so
But that's entrepreneurism. You keep failing forward.
You know, that's the point.
You don't lose until you give up.
That's right.
So just don't give up.
Keep going. And so that could be stupid, but I think that's part of it. And really, I knew that's where God called me to be. And so it wasn't that one. Maybe it's this next one.
Man, I love it.
So it was kind of fun, actually.
So you've obviously been very successful in business.
Well, I don't know. That's a really good question, because I think about it as again, I don't know about a money side of it. I want to have a good name. I want to treat people the way, I think I should be treated. And the thing is, all that else just comes together. It's people that just do the right thing. They may not have financial wealth, but that doesn't mean they're not successful.
No, 100%.
Early on, I felt like, we're seeking eternal significance in our lives.
Yep.
And what I've come to the conclusion, we are going to have some eternal significance. What we really want is something positive. We want to make a difference in the world in a positive way.
Yeah.
And so just recognizing that we are stewards, and that whatever that is to you, you've got to really take it seriously. It's not ours.
100%.
So
a great thought exercise that I've that's helped me kind of put that all into perspective is asking the question, well, at what point do you become wealthy?
Mm-hmm.
Is it when you have $1 million net worth, or is it when you're broke doing the things and having the mindset that produces the $1 million net worth?
I don't know. I mean, just living in the U.S. is a
compared to the rest of the world is a good, yes.
And so I think it's just a definition.
Yeah.
And if you're content, aren't we wealthy if you're content? I mean, I don't know. I'm asking the question.
Yeah, no, these are great questions.
And so I think the world will tell us, if you have an X number of dollars in net worth, then you're somebody. And I just don't think that's right. I think
that's chasing a dragon's tail that you'll never catch.
Yeah, and why? It's the question, how much is enough? And I think we have to wrestle with some of that stuff. But that's not what this is about. God owns it all.
Yep.
And we're stewards for it.
We're stewards of it.
He wants us to have a happy life. I mean, he doesn't want us to. I mean, it's a personal question with you and God. But at the end of the day, we should love our lives.
The first time
He's not stingy.
The first time I felt wealthy, I heard a preacher. So I went to a Baptist seminary, and we had chapel service after classes every day. And he was talking in 1 Timothy. And really trying to understand what the Apostle Paul was talking to the early church about wealth and how that transfers into the into the 21st century. And he had just made a comment about when it all boils down to it. He said, "I got my pickup truck, I got my dog in the passenger seat, and I got the freedom to drive down the road with air in my lungs, and I owe nobody anything."
Right.
And he was like, "I can't think of a better." And then I thought to myself, well, I got my truck, got my dog, I owe no one anything. I finished college, I'm not in debt.
Yeah.
And I'm wealthy.
You're wealthy. Exactly.
I guess I should just keep living life with this frame of mind and see what happens.
And it's true. I mean, we are. And I just think we see this view of what wealth is, and it's not God's view for sure.
No, his economy operates differently.
Totally.
It's almost like when you go into Solomon. So we're talking about 2 Samuel here, right? Or 2 Chronicles, because they're in both. But Solomon asked God, or God asked Solomon, honoring your father David, who was a man after my own heart. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. And he didn't ask for power or wealth or influence or long life. He just asked for wisdom.
Right.
And because that's what he was pursuing, all those other things were given to him. And I would like to think that that principle still applies, because it's worked for me too. It's just you pursue the good with a proper orientation in your attitude, and you organize your life according to the values.
Right.
And And in God's own proportion, whether he gives you 1 talent to manage or 5 talents to manage or 10, at the end of the day, it's his wealth
Right.
that he's giving,
Absolutely.
a portion of it that he's giving you to manage temporarily. Don't ever assume that it's yours.
Right.
Don't ever assume that it's concrete, that it can't leave.
Can't change.
Like
Yep.
the Bible says, it riches makes itself like eagle's wings and flies away.
Or the grass that withers.
Yes, absolutely. Man, there's so much we can unpack here and so little time.
Okay.
So let's zoom in a little further. So you're starting all these businesses. At what point do you decide to be mayor and
Well,
why?
that's a really good question because I can't remember. I became mayor in '08, so it was probably early 2000s. For some reason, I started really thinking about how much Midland had given to me.
Okay.
Thinking about how I was raised, and I was taking for granted, gosh, I'd been travel some other countries, and just having a street that you can drive down is a big deal. Having a car to drive is a big deal.
Sure.
Having water that you turn on the faucet is a big deal. And I just realized this whatever I've accomplished, the city had a lot to do with it. And I never even considered the value of government in my life. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm independent, blah, blah, blah. And I realized, well, if I didn't have an office to drive to, I probably wouldn't be able to do what I was doing. So all of a sudden, I realized there was a role that government had played in my life that was significant. That if I couldn't get up in the morning, and I'd traveled enough to places that Haiti's the best example, they don't have water. They don't have a street. They don't have a courthouse to go file a deed to own this property. I mean, all that just came to fruition going, wow, if I'd have born in Haiti, I would not be who I am today.
I gotcha.
And mainly because of government. And I know that's kind of weird to say it that way, but I realize just having a courthouse to file a deed is a big deal.
Infrastructure is a big deal.
It's a big deal. And we don't even give it the second thought. So that's what kind of started me. And then I thought, well, maybe I should help.
Okay. Yeah.
I had never done anything like this. And I thought, how hard could it be?
Was this before September 11th or after?
Let me think about this. It was probably before.
Okay.
I don't know if that even figured into my calculus.
Okay.
I just felt like, if it's been so good to me, can I give something back?
Okay.
And I said, how hard could it be? I remember thinking it can't be any different than running for student council in the 7th grade. It's not that big a deal. I mean, really. And I really had no clues. I hadn't been in a campaign. I'd never worked a campaign. I just knew that, I'll do something to give back. And that was it.
Okay.
That's when I went into council. And then during that period, it was 5 years, so that would have been '03 when I ran for, and I didn't even have to run. No one ran against me, so it was pretty easy to be elected without an opponent.
Wow.
I did that twice.
Okay.
And I really was shocked when I ran for mayor and had an opponent. I thought, what in the world? Everybody likes me. Why would you possibly think that I couldn't get elected? And
Okay,
I realized,
so who was the mayor before you?
Mike Cannon.
And so he just retired.
He was ready to retire.
And you were the only one on the ticket that wanted to
No,
take his place?
not when I ran for mayor. I had some opponents then.
Okay.
But I was totally shocked. And then I found that a lot of people hated my guts. I didn't even know it.
Really?
Oh yeah, it was kind of interesting. And I realized through that whole experience that, I was a people pleaser, that it got me out of that deal in a hurry.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But during being on the city council, I got to be pretty good friends with our person who was in charge of water. And at that point, we had a contract with CMWD, and I'll try not to use those words, but the people we were buying water from, we have a contract with them. And the question I asked the guy, I said, what happens when this contract expires? Are you going to renew it? And he said, oh, I don't know. We may, but we don't have to. And that day I realized if that happens, Midland doesn't have any water.
That's a big problem. That's
It was
always
a
the
big
problem. Yeah.
And I asked her if this was the lady running the water area, and I said, well, had someone thought about this deal? And she said, well, really, no one has, because we've always had plenty of water. But if it doesn't get it, renewed, and so I thought, well, who can fix that? I said, well, the only person I know would be the mayor. So I'm thinking I'm going to run for mayor. Now,
Interesting.
during the campaign, I didn't know anything about it. I just knew that if the mayor's the only one that could fix it, I'll try to get in that position and then figure out how to fix it, because I didn't really know. And
So it was the water issue specifically.
The water.
So you started in city council, figured out about this water issue, and then now you're running for mayor.
That's correct.
Got it.
And I realized that if I was going to do something like this, I wanted to do something that would last for 50 years. I didn't want to do this just to have it on my resume. I wanted to make a difference with something that could last a long, long time. And I knew that water was the only thing that could possibly be, that I knew about at the time, that I could have some influence on.
It's a big deal.
And we happened to hit a drought, a serious drought in 08. And that, if you'll remember, that was a financial crisis.
Yes.
We're in a terrible drought.
Yes.
And it was pretty easy to get people behind this idea of let's solve our water problem. And literally people from all over came together to make this thing happen. But we really didn't know. I mean, we had some ideas, but there wasn't anything in concrete at that point that was going to make it work. But we had some really good, smart people working on it. And everybody got on board. Kind of one of my favorite things, at that time we had an ordinance for water. When you paid your water bill, the more water you used, the less you paid per gallon. Mm-hmm. Because it's a source of revenue that you need to have to pay any obligation bonds you have when you do these water projects. Okay. So there's a catch-22 in there, is if you start charging too much for that to that customer, you may not have enough money to fund the obligations you've got. And all these water projects are major funding requirements. So we had this really
mostly funded by municipal bonds.
100%.
Okay.
But they're backed up by that particular department. So to build a water system, you're going to have water payments paying it off. It doesn't come out of taxpayer dollars. They're separate.
So they're revenue bonds rather than general obligation bonds.
That's correct. They're revenue bonds. And so you have to be careful about that revenue. You don't want to go tweaking that so much that you're losing revenue. So we had to really come up with some ordinances that kind of fix that. And the council was really smart in doing all that. And that was kind of first step. But my favorite part of that was reducing use of water. And we started putting in ordinances that encouraged people getting rid of grass. The zero-scape became popular. We started to do some ordinance along that. So
I'm about to zero-scape my yard. I'm so tired of sticker bushes.
So that's a good way to do it. It'll reduce your water bill on top of that. Yep. But what I did, another thing that was kind of fun, is I was going into classrooms and I was talking about the importance of water and how much we can conserve. And so I'd tell these kids, one of the things you can do is when you brush your teeth, turn off the water. If you're taking a shower, put a bucket in there, catch the water, and maybe you can use your toilet. So I was kind of coming up with these kind of kooky ideas.
Okay.
And then I started hearing from parents, will you quit going to these children? I'm about to get worn out because I'm not turning off the water when I brush my teeth. So that was kind of fun. I go, well, they're right. It's their water, and you're just going to ruin you're going to ruin it for them. So everybody got on board. It was a really easy thing because we were in the drought. It was critical, and got it kind of worked out.
Man, now we're getting to the crux of this. That's leadership.
Well,
that is directing that's exactly what that is. It's influence. It's getting, as we learned from our last podcast there from Tim Dunn on creating a culture of leadership. One definition of leadership is just trying to get people from here to there. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what you're, and it's not like water is a unique problem to your administration. I can imagine in Midland, it's always been a problem.
Always been.
And it's even a problem now. Mm-hmm. If I could just chase a rabbit trail for a second.
Sure.
Do you have any insights into the water dilemma today? Or?
Not so much.
Okay.
I'll talk to Lori occasionally about it, and the good thing is the part that's really good is she asks for history, and I try to give her my perspective of those. But things changed a lot. Our assumptions of what population was going to look like, what the oil industry is going to look like, is completely different. So it morphed into a little bit different problem.
I think Peyton really took that vision to this being a metroplex.
Exactly.
And so is that what they're trying to build out right
I think
now?
so. And then really it's all being driven by the shale boom. And so all that, this is the most important oil field in the world now. And we didn't really predict that, back then.
Imagine not.
Yeah, we didn't really think horizontals would be what it is today.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know about it. So anyway, it was just one of those that things happen. But then you realize, okay, that's kind of set the stage for these next opportunities. Because what solved that problem was a decision the city council made in the 50s to buy this water field in Winkler County. And when we realized that was the real deal, there was actually water there. There was a lot of water there. We just need to get a pipe to it. That's what solved that kind of initial problem. And because of our growth and the things that are going on, that's not enough. So what I thought was going to last for 50 years or more probably can't. And so now the idea the council's working on today is let's cover that gap because it's just way too important. You got to have water. And that's our number one. Now, you can pray for technology to solve it, and it might. I mean, there's some ways to do that, and it might. But all you can do, or all that I felt like I could do, is let's figure out what's at hand. What assets do we have? Let's get those in place, and then get the baton in the next hands.
I love it.
So, anyway.
The rest of the conversation, I know we've already exceeded time. Do you have a couple more minutes?
Sure, of course.
I'm telling you, it's a problem we always have. And especially in this one, it's just because we could go for hours. We could turn this into a Joe Rogan podcast.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if we want to do that.
and no, it would be interesting enough to carry. I mean, the last 40 minutes just went by in 10 minutes. I really just want to unpack this one question. So feel free to take this any direction that you want. What has been, from a leadership perspective, what has been the fundamental difference in business and in local municipal politics?
Oh, that's a great question. In local politics, your bosses are every person in the whole city. You really have to pay attention and listen to every person that wants to talk to you.
How do you do that?
Well, by being available. And what I found out people really want is for you to hear them.
To be heard.
And I think in ways that's exactly the same in business. If you can really listen, your constituency is a lot smaller. It might be your investors, it might be your stakeholders, your employees, whoever. But listening is the key, I believe, in public service or in service. Because if you can really, truly listen, not try to argue, not try to convince them they're wrong, just listen. And then you thoughtfully decide what we're going to do. That person that you may have made a decision that doesn't line up with their views typically is okay because they know you heard them, you looked at all the angles, and you made a decision. And it might be not what they wanted, but the majority of people just appreciate the fact you're interested and listen. I used to be on the radio a lot, and I'd say, if you've got a question, and there'd be a specific question, and I'd say something along the lines, I don't have the answer to your question. If you'll call me, I will get you the answer. I don't think I ever got a call. I gave him my phone number on the radio. And my takeaway of that was they're willing, if I'm willing to do that, they realize, well, he's trying to do the right thing. It's not just, I'm right, you're wrong. It was, okay, I'm really interested in what you have to say.
I'm being represented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was what our role should be. And to listen is kind of hard to do sometimes, especially when we have our biases. And I knew I was done and I had some partners that I would say this, if I ever said, you just don't understand how this works, it's time for me to go. Because it's like all of a sudden became more smarter than you. And the truth is, you never do. You might have more of the facts, or you may have a biased view of the facts. But the truth is, we're just human beings. And if you can't listen to someone else's opinion, you got a problem. And I think that is a leader, is someone that can actually listen and take all that in and then make a decision with that and not have a bias. In local politics, it's a lot easier. I think when you get state and national, there's platforms, there's constituencies.
That's a different animal.
It's a different, and so I don't know anything about that. I don't care to know anything about that. I just know in Midland it worked because all we were was to serve and to try to do the best we could with the knowledge we had.
It's amazing. There's
no perfect decision.
It scales. Yeah. So it's much bigger than your family.
Yes.
It's much bigger than your school.
Right.
The school
7th
board.
grade, yeah.
Yep. Or or even being on a school board.
That's true.
Yep.
I don't know. I think school board might be more difficult just because you're dealing with people's children. That's harder. Water, streets, those are important, obviously.
But what I'm getting is that it scales upward, right? And then by the time you get to the Midland, I mean, you're talking about a couple 100,000 people. Mm-hmm. And then obviously, state and then federal, it's just at that point, there's no way you can touch everybody. Mm-hmm. But you found it your number one priority to, within still scaling it up to solve the bigger problems, but stay humble enough to listen to folks and to stay engaged.
Yeah, I don't know if humble's the right word. I think that's a requirement.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Because it really, it's going to the grocery store and spending 3 hours at the produce section talking about the issues.
Well, at the end of the day, you're still going to restaurants with these people. You're still going to the grocery store. You still have businesses here that they're going to patronize.
And, Roni would get kind of upset because someone would walk to us at a restaurant and say, hey, I know you're about to eat. Can I just ask you a quick question? And it would last for 35, 40 minutes. And the food would be closed. And she said, let's just quit going out. I said, well, I think that's not a bad idea. But if I'm not available, then how do people connect? And it did get me out of some grocery stores. She said, you can't be over there for 3 hours. I said, well, you'll have to go then. I'm not going to be able to do it. So it worked to my advantage occasionally. But I think that's part of it. I think you've got to be accessible. And it's more difficult for someone in state or federal government because they don't go to the grocery store and connect
you don't have that
constituents.
That connection.
Some guys say never run in a place where people can find you or don't live there. I don't know. I thought, well, that doesn't make sense.
And also you don't have a choice. Mm-hmm. You're in Midland. Everyone comes here to go grocery shopping. Where else are you going to go?
That's right. So, I don't know. It was really the very best things that I ever did in my life because it was I felt like I made a difference, and probably even today, no one even really knows what actually happened. And so I think that's great. I think that's what we're supposed to do, make a difference and don't take any credit for it and share that, really. So anyway.
How long were you mayor?
6 years. So I started in 2003, became mayor in 2008, and then served 2 terms. So Midland's got 3-year terms and 3-term limits.
Okay.
And that last term I could have run, but I couldn't find the thing that I could do that would last 50 years. I just didn't have a mission that was that, important, and just to serve, to kind of make a difference, that just wasn't enough. If I'm going to give my life away to this thing, I wanted something to last. I wanted to have some kind of eternal significance as much as that could be in my lifetime.
That focus on legacy.
Yeah.
Good name.
Anyway, it was pretty fun, though. I loved it. There's certain ththings I miss. The connection with people is really good. And the one thing I really did miss was reading to kindergartners or any kind of little, because some days I would get real frustrated with adults.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'd go into these classrooms and I'd realize, okay, I'm putting up with this for these people. And it was
talking about that perspective.
Yeah, and it was really kind of refreshing. I go, okay. And actually, that was an advice from someone that had served. And he said, when you really get kind of burned out, go read to some kids and they'll think you're the king of the earth, and kind of did feed my ego a little bit. But I kept that
It also gives you good gas.
Yeah, right.
In the gas tank.
That's right. Yeah, it really did, because you realize, okay, this isn't about me necessarily. This is about this next generation and this future, and so how to do that. But I did retain it. I still get to do that. So
That's fun.
yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, so we were, these kindergartners are on the same mental level, so we can see eye to eye. It's really fun.
Wes, I think this gave everyone a good financial snapshot. Or not financial snapshot. Now I'm talking like a financial advisor. This gave everyone a good snapshot, let's just say that,
Yeah.
of the leadership. Not evolution. What is the word I'm looking for? I think this gave everyone. I mean, we could have gone into so much detail and unpack a lot of these things, but this did a good job summarizing and giving a snapshot into not only your life, but just what leadership qualities we should be looking for in a mayor, and a little bit more into Midland, and just, I don't know, after talking to you in this conversation, kind of the impression that I have is that this place is big, but it still feels kind of small.
I would say that's a true statement. And I think the leaders we have today are really still in that same vein. I know Lori her heart's in this. She was raised here and she understands Midland, and I just think it's really nice to see this younger group kind of picking up the ball and running with it. And it's important for us to be able to get that baton in their hands. And
Talking about legacy again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that, but it's really up to us to do that, and then someone's got to pick that up. But there's this really fun time right now here at Midland with all these young folks.
I love it, man. I feel like, again, I just was able to put my thumb a little bit on this and a little bit on the pulse of this thing. Maybe, good Lord willing, we can come back and expound upon something specific.
Well,
but
if you
this
have some
gave
thoughts,
a great snapshot.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it. It's fun. It's good.
So one story to leave everyone with. I know I've told this to you before.
Yep.
But my first encounter or experience was I was in Arkansas. We had just started a church. I was working on a 5-year evangelistic concept to go help pastors start churches. It was ambitiously big, and I was like, man, we're going to start 500 churches in the 50 largest cities, and
Wow.
we're going to do all that. Every door imaginable was slamming in our face. Like, this isn't. I had a 5-year plan, and it was great,
It was a great plan.
but not God's.
Yep.
I was like, God, look at this great thing I'm going to do for you.
I'm gonna. Yeah.
And he's like, no, actually, you're going to go into the wilderness. You're going to go into a desert place. That's actually what I'm going to go do with you. Oh, and by the way, you're going to go move down there without a job and without a place
in
to
the real
stay,
wilderness in this desert.
in a state that you've never been in before. So I started doing some research, and I looked up, and there was an interview. Like a little Fox News section. You were on Fox,
Yeah.
talking about Midland.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
And yeah, I don't know if you remember that conversation. It was
I
probably
re-
one of many conversations you've had with Fox.
We had a deal. So I was on a board in New York,
Okay.
and he said anytime. Gosh, what was his name? The guy that interviewed you. Anyway, he said anytime you're up, just call me. I'd love to interview you. And he was a really great guy. I mean, very, very. Entertaining, and it was just fun for me to do that. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I just Googled it, and Midland, Texas, or whatever, and that clip, and you being you, and you talking about Midland, and it went from anxiety and depression to, well, I guess God hates me and my plans to after that conversation, I really did feel like this is a great place, and I don't know what God has in store for me there.
That's interesting.
But I'm looking forward to it.
Wow.
And so there's one of those little seeds that you planted that you didn't even know about
no idea.
at that time.
And that's how God works, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, who would have ever thought? But he'll take whatever we give him and turn it into a giant tree.
We'll talk about that tree 15 years later.
Yeah,
I got
right.
to sit down with you and have this
That's pretty
conversation.
awesome. That's
and
great.
it's been
and think of all the families that you're having impact on. So.